Radio.
Believe it.
Greetings and good morning. This is Innovation Up Close, coming to you on the Care Voice Radio Network. And I am your host, Leroy Tyler. And this morning we have the distinct pleasure of having a very, we call it a venerable guest on my program to talk about the issues of innovation and technology and the things that we're looking forward to happening in society at large. We have the pleasure of having Dr. Joseph Whittaker as a guest to interview him this morning. He has information. His background, his career is stellar, and as his accomplishments in scientific research as well as education. And it's my pleasure to introduce him to you, so you have an idea of what he's talking about and how this can impact you wherever you are listening to this program anywhere in the world. What he has to say has information that can possibly impact you where you're at right now. So at this time, it's my pleasure to introduce you or to present to you Dr. Joseph Whittaker. Joe, could you let the people know who you are and where you're from?
Ah, um, well, greetings, everyone, and Mr. Tyler, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Who am I? I'm a simple, I think, humble guy from, origins in Jamaica and from the Caribbean. Came to the United States for undergraduate studies and have gone through to my doctoral degree and work in the university system and a number of different universities, and been fortunate to work in a number of different spaces. So my background is fairly diverse based on my experiences, but I was a biology major in undergrad, went to Morgan State University, and then transitioned to Howard University for my doctorate degree. As an undergrad, I got introduced to research, and I was introduced to ecology and remote sensing. So I was fortunate to start working at NASA Goddard Space Flight Center on a prototype that, eventually became part of the first Landsat satellite. And of course, remote sensing has grown exponentially since, and now you're up to what, Landsat 9. So I've been in this space for a little bit. But when I got to graduate school, I changed direction a bit. So rather than work on agricultural plants, and at the time it was acid rain, now it's a whole big climate change. So it has gotten far more complex, but still impacting weather, climate, and agriculture, of course. And so we could also talk about the impact on food safety and security and all of those things. So these things have significantly broad implications. There's lots of technology involved. And I moved from there to the human sciences. So I got my doctorate in physiology and biophysics and neuroscience from Howard University. And then went to University of Tennessee in Memphis and kind of grew my expertise in neurobiology and electrophysiology. So did that for quite some time. And that was the first half of my career was pretty much physiology and neuroscience, and got a job at Morehouse School of Medicine as an assistant professor. Helped to teach neuroscience, physiology, and pathophysiology there in the medical school. And as an assistant professor, worked with a couple of my colleagues, and we came up with the idea of building a neuroscience program and the first neuroscience institute in the historically Black university in the country. And that became a model for 12 others that the NIH funded across the United States. So been able to do a few things in my life. And after that, went on to become dean at my undergraduate institution. Did some transformative things there. programs to train actuaries, expand their research capabilities and their funding. And then also, at the same time, got them the largest contract they ever had with the same division that got a space flight center to oversee all of the earth sciences research. And so I was the associate director there at the same time. Following that, I trained actuaries. I built some geoscience program jointly with Johns Hopkins and Morgan State. And then I was asked to go join Jackson State to help with their research development there. And I was the vice president for research and economic development and the associate provost. And there, just build a center for innovation for the campus that helped to support all of the disciplines. So that was rather than the typical housing that typically in engineering and science, I put it in the middle of campus so all disciplines could access that. And we also made it a facility that was open to small businesses in the community as well. So small businesses, entrepreneurs, people of color could benefit from all the technologies that were there, and get the faculty and students to work collaboratively together to do not only their own research and innovation, but to help the community as well, to enhance their businesses.
Well, Dr. Whittaker, you said something. I do want to go into detail with you about that and the things that you've done concerning going that area. But earlier, a few minutes ago, you said something that really grabbed attention. You talked about science as it relates to food safety, and where it's going to. It's clearly evident that what we're seeing right now in terms of food production, particularly here in America, especially America, but also possibly other countries around the world, there's a problem how food was dealt with in terms of the production mechanism of food is not the same as it was years ago when you didn't have issues about even concern about safety.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is a big challenges problem. Is one of those grand challenges or wicked problems that, as the scientists would say, because
Okay.
it's not one of those things that you can just get up and imagine some solution and it's okay. It's impact.
Mhm.
There's so many variables that impact um, food. Safely growing and producing food and getting it to people. And um, people are fickle, cultures are fickle. So there are things
Mm.
that people don't eat or they don't like or they don't want to do. Now, if you look at young people and you tell them to go on a farm to grow something, nobody want to put their hands in the dirt, but they don't mind doing the technology and the engineering part of it, right? So if you
Wow.
think about hydroponics and aquaponics and those kind of the computational pieces, agri-tech, you can get young people turned on to do that, right? And motivated to do it. But
Okay.
if it's for them to go in the soil and do that, not a lot of them are going to do that, right? There are some that are passionate about it and they probably have a background in it. So, or they might have grown up on a farm. The other challenge you have with it is you have all the science, you have a lot of things that's happening. And the land grant universities have served a real good purpose in that. Part of the challenge is there's not a lot of revenue that comes from um, the basic food that people eat. And so the price points are
Mm.
usually prohibitive for most people, especially small farmers. So if they grow the
Yeah.
cash crop, like the soybean and the cotton and everything else that you can export, there's a large price point there that people can benefit from. And so if you try to tell them, get together and grow food to feed your community, usually that's not a large incentive. And some of that is cultural. So and there are lots of social cultural pieces. There are a lot of political pieces, depending on what is funded and not supported and what, politicians or farm bureaus will do. So you and what even the land grants, universities who have the extension services, you know, they usually will not necessarily support the little guys.
Hmm.
People might
Yeah.
challenge me on that, but I mean, you have to go with what the evidence shows.
Yes.
You have 400 or 500 acres. Yeah, they're happy to help you and assist, and because their resources and revenues there. But the majority of the population are not operating at that level,
Mm.
and so there's a lot of the social cultural aspect of these things that needs to be addressed for the
Okay.
science to be really impactful and effective in a meaningful way.
Hmm.
Um, Despite all the food that we grow, despite all the resources and the budget that you hear about, there's still marginalized people, farmers and everybody else, and people still on assistance program, right? And you're
Yes.
in a wealthy country, so you have to ask yourself, how did that happen, and how does that come about? We have a big part of the population that actually um, live in food deserts. They have to drive
Yes.
many miles just to get to a place where they can get food. And when
Mm.
they get the food, it's not the best quality and it's not the most nutritious. So
Yes.
um, there are some significant issues. If we're going to look at this as a comprehensive, as an ecosystem, and how we're going to solve the problems of the communities that we serve. So if, I spend my career, yeah, working in medical schools quite a lot. You see people
Mm.
coming in. If you could solve some of the food security problem, you could probably significantly impact and mitigate half of the health problems that we see.
Wow.
Right. So
Wow.
these things are all interconnected, and so you can't just say I'm going to come up and imagine this solution. They're all connected to other things, and if we don't work as a community in collaborative, meaningful ways between
Yes. Yes.
academia and government, um, the nonprofits and communities. And if everybody don't work together in a synergistic way with a single vision to and motivation to solve some of these problems, it's not going to happen.
Well, you made, Dr. Whittaker, you just made a whale of a statement a few minutes ago when you said about the health-ish areas dealing with the connectivity to food. Uh, what do you see are the ways that this, what you just talked about, what are the solutions to get to it, to change what you're talking about?
Uh, networking and collaboration. So when you normally talk about network and collaboration, everybody thinks about their career, and it's always a selfish motive. How I can promote myself or my business or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
it's about thinking about the grand challenges. If you're talking about food insecurity, you have to
Mm-hmm.
get the farmers at the table. You got to get um, food suppliers and manufacturers and the processors. You got to get all the technology people, right?
Yes.
You got to get industry manufacturers, everybody
Mm-hmm.
sitting at the table, the people in research and education, right? So we did a model for Mississippi, and we started a big food insecurity program there. And
Really?
initially, the idea was, yeah, we were trying to address um, the Southeast United States, where most of the people of color are. That's one thing. But these
Mm-hmm.
are the areas where you have the most significant food deserts. It's the areas where you have obesity, and it's a stroke belt. You have all of these interconnected things.
Mm-hmm.
If we talk about marginalized people when it comes to education and social services and all of that, yeah, go in the Southeast. You find it all working all at the same time, right? It's the same. A diverse group of people are affected. Sometimes we think about it only people of color, but it's a lot of people that are affected. It's not limited to a group like that. So, but how are you going to solve the problem? We tend to think of it as just the things that affect me or my pocket and
Yes.
budget, but we have to think beyond ourselves. The solution is going to come from taking different perspectives, The scientist has to sit with the engineers and the computer scientists and the
Mhm.
art and designers and the farmers and everybody to just hear their perspective and understand things how things work. We
Mhm.
have we have a lot of farm to table programs. We have people who can now order their food directly. Um,
Yeah.
you have to think about a lot of different things. There's transportation, logistics, there's safety issues, and all of these things. All of these things have to be considered broadly if you're going to really solve the problem.
Mhm.
You can solve it for a few people who have resources and who can access their own thing, but for those who cannot, I think that's where there's a mindset shift is needed
Mhm.
because poor people will remain poor if somebody doesn't try to do something to help to facilitate and create opportunities for them.
Yes.
Uh, so um, one of my mantra in our thing our work is every institution I go in, I try to go in and do something and put something in place that wasn't there when I got there.
Yes.
So when I leave, at least it's better than how I found it.
Okay. That which
And
brings.
so
Go ahead.
we have to think comprehensively, and we have to start thinking about ecosystems.
Okay.
If the ecosystem is about educating people of color and all of this stuff, how are we doing that? Not focusing on the few people who stand up in front of you in a suit and tie and um, talk the talk, but then when they go behind the scenes, you can't see what they're actually doing. What has changed? And if we look at some of our universities in some of our communities, you look at the majors that they had and the degree programs 50 years ago, and you look at them now,
Yes.
and they're almost the same. Why?
Wow.
The rest of the world, the rest of the globe is evolving, right? There are new things coming on point. You
Mhm.
can hardly find at HBCU now, for example, that has a major training in geosciences or
Mhm.
oceanography and all these other things, right? These things
Mhm.
affect black people. You like seafood, you like all these other things, but do
Mhm.
you understand what it takes? And are you
Yeah.
training people for that, right? You live in these areas, farmlands, you have people who live in the south where you have a lot of drilling and all this stuff. Are you training petroleum engineers and all these and geologists and all these things? So
Yes.
we have to start adjusting. So you talk about needs and challenges, but historically they go to before legislators and do fundraising. It's always focused on the same traditional things
Mhm.
and not the new things.
Mhm.
So yeah, you get with now you in the era of high tech robotics and automation. And how many of our engineering programs in these institutions are actually state of the art, being able to
Well,
prepare people for what the real world is doing?
yes.
Okay.
Well,
You can't
you
always play catch up. You have to be at the forefront if you really want to be impactful.
okay? Well, you not talking just be talking. You actually did what you just said,
Uh,
and yes,
I try.
especially. Oh no, you did more than try, bro. You did that. So what that means is, I would please let the listening audience give them an idea of what you accomplished and how pivotal it was what you did at Morehouse School of Medicine.
When I got to Morehouse School of Medicine, there were only two of us as neuroscientists, trained physiologists and neuroscientists there.
Yes.
Um, but I was coming out of one of the centers of excellence in the country. And with my training and background, I was also sitting on review committees at the NIH. And so there were all these conversations about why there are not more people of colors and minorities in neuroscience. And and my philosophy is, well, it depends on where you look and who is doing the work to train them. Um, and this goes back to my last point about what are minority serving institute HBCUs, what are they training students for? You
Mm-hmm.
can't go to many of them and find an undergraduate degree in neuroscience.
Mm-hmm.
So people don't talk about those careers. And it's the same reason why I talk about why I developed the actuarial um, degree training program at actuarial science program at Morgan State.
Hmm.
I asked a fundamental question: how many black actuaries do you know?
Yes.
Most people can't tell you one, right? Or
Hmm.
what it takes to be an actuary.
Hmm.
Because those careers are not discussed. They can tell you their grandparents or foreparents who knew about those things or understood it. And so,
Hmm.
but it doesn't mean that because your parents didn't do it that you can't do it. It's
Hmm.
about information and exposure and making sure you know what it takes and understand the value and the meaning behind it. Um, so I present the idea about to my colleagues, and which is something I discussed at NIH. I said, "You're looking in the wrong place. You have a bunch of
Hmm.
people. None of them are people of color sitting in a room trying to decide what's going to happen with minorities in neuroscience. So you can't do that at the exclusion of the people that you're talking about."
Yes.
And so my off the cuff response was, "Let me write you a concept on how that should happen." And so that's how the idea started. And then I went and mobilized my colleague at Morehouse. Um, I was told no at every single level within the school when you follow the process
Hmm.
to get approvals to put a new program in place. So it's okay. So my approach then was, okay, you told me no. So I just went straight to the president and said, let's have a conversation.
Wow.
So, so um, I wouldn't advise, a young professor now to take my approach, but
Mhm. Yes.
um, I'm one of those people who, I always have a backup plan or an alternative. So
Yes.
I'm prepared to hear no, but it's you don't always accept no because somebody say, "Oh yeah, you can't do this." I mean, yeah, there's always another way to get something done. And but
Okay.
luckily, we had a long conversation, and he said, "Tell me what I needed to do," and I told him the commitments, and he agreed. So we went from there, and so we wrote a proposal, and it long story, we got it funded, and we hired our own boss. So we brought in somebody who was well known, who was trained at Harvard and Rockefeller, and at, he's still at Morehouse, and he's about to retire. And he
Wow.
was a founding director. So that institute has been existing for 30 years. A lot of people have been trained there since.
Okay.
Um,
You let
and
them know what it is, the research or the process that you put in, the curriculum.
Yeah, well, I mean, we had to build everything. We had to build an entire research program, or a training and development program to train future scientists. So we started with a summer program, and then we integrate that into a PhD program. So people do masters, PhDs, and that continues to this day.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And,
So we have to do things different, and the medical school had no clue how to deal with an institute at the time. So we were transformative in many ways, not just building a new program and new degrees, but and new research enterprise, but we also changed the institution in the sense that we built the first institute there, then we modeled the cardiovascular institute out there. And actually the
okay.
first director of that cardiovascular institute became the director of the Heart, Lung, and Blood Institute at NIH. And he just retired from there.
Wow.
So, it's a um, one of those things you have to be committed. It has to be something you're passionate about and really making a difference. But I think my career just kind of shows that this is all doable.
But in your career, um, there's so much. We talked earlier. So much we want to deal with. We're just about 5 minutes left. That's how fast we
Time
can't
goes,
even
yeah,
talk.
time flies.
Okay,
And I
but
mean,
we.
in between all of the other things I've done, I was also president of Sigma Xi Scientific
That's
Research
where I was
Society.
going.
I think,
Please let
yeah,
them know what this is about. What
that
you did, Einstein. Albert Einstein did back in the 1900s, and they asked you to do it when what year was that they brought you into it?
That was in somewhere around the same time Obama was elected. I think it was 2010, 2011. I was the president. Yeah. So I was the 73rd president. So that that society was around for 125 years, and I was probably the first person that looked like me
Yeah.
who
Yes.
became president. But um, it was I was elected I was became the president elect, and the person who was president prior actually got ill and had to step down early. So I kind of took over a little bit early and then spent my whole year as president as well.
Okay.
Um, yeah. So, and during my tenure there, I changed a couple of things. One was to expand the reach of the society in that every annual meeting, they would lose like 100,000 or more.
Wow.
Because they were underwriting so many things. But I decided that that was not um, a good approach during my tenure. So we
Hmm.
reached out and started raising money from outside. But then I also opened up the annual meeting to
Yes.
government agencies and other scientific entities. And so we had one of the biggest annual meetings then. And was able to, I think we had over 300 students or something at that
Wow.
conference. So we
Hmm.
we made some bold steps with a lot of resistance, but we successfully carried it off. Had a lot of partnerships and government agencies and private sector researchers who were coming to the table and actually um, engaging in collaborative discussions and providing perspective on major issues. So during the time, I think we had food and water safety, and those are the issues we were talking about in a broad sense, from
Yes.
all aspects in terms of the science and the future.
Hmm. They approached you about becoming the next
No, I
president.
mean, I was a member. I was a member of Sigma Xi, the society from I was in graduate school.
Okay.
And yeah, when I got to Morehouse and I was working on um, just the initial part of my career, and I was involved just on um, auxiliary kind of basis and on some committees and all that, and start getting really involved in some of the activities there. And so I was nominated, and I just kind of followed the process, and I end up becoming the president. So that worked out.
Yes. Yes, that is a pivotal thing that's not chopped liver.
I
That
did well. I mean, at the time, even when I was nominated, I had no expectation I would be elected. So this is a society that's 125 years old. They had over 200 Nobel laureates as members and all these kind of things. And so you say, this little guy from down the street, how is he going to be elected? But it worked out.
mm, yes, it did. Yes, it did. And unfortunately, as I said, I say all the time, when you have a guest that has a fascinating background and a depth of knowledge to talk about, seems like the time goes by as fast as the brother down there in Jamaica, as fast as he could run. we're,
You saying
we're,
both, yeah.
yes, yes, like this time is moving like Usain Bolt, and
Well,
it's got
that's the
us.
thing. Time is not waiting on any of us, so we have to run as fast as we can to keep up. And in the process, we still have to get some things done. So
Well,
that's the idea.
there's a lot we wanted to talk about. I want to ask you, could you please come back in the very near future? There's some things that's getting ready to happen. That's going to be announced and presented, and we would like to have your point of view about what you see and what you're connected to.
Well, Mr. Tyler, it's always a pleasure. So just give me a call. I'm sure we'll work it out. I'll be happy to talk to you about any of these things.
Well, my brother, I'm honored. Thank you very much, and I appreciate it. And the listening audience, we want you to look at or listen to, well, what is going on. There's going to be some very pivotal things that is happening that's going to have an impact on us and on the world at large. And now is the time to be able to have the state of mind that says, I'm open to see what is new, that has changed, that can have an impact for what I'm doing. And so these are Dr. Whittaker is one of the individuals that's going to be bringing information that helps us to see where things are going and what our possibilities can be. And so thank you very much for being with us on today. And I look forward to getting back with you soon to reschedule you.
Anytime, it's a pleasure.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. And I look forward to getting back with you to get you back here as soon as possible.
All right, Mr. Tyler, I look forward to it.
Okay. Well, thank you, sir.
All
And
right, thank you.
our listening audience, y'all have a blessed day, a blessed week, and look forward to hearing from us again. And thank you very much for your time.
Carry Voice Radio.
Believe it.